My 25F boyfriend, 29M, are considering a break or breaking up. Have you ever been on a relationship break? Did it work? Is it better to just break up? Me and my boyfriend of 1.5 years live together for a year now and have been arguing constantly to the point where we're unhappy. We considered going on a break, moving out and loving separately for X months but still being together, no dating other people. But arguing isn't all there is. He's also not sure what he wants and it seems like we have different standards/priorities. My question is, has anyone ever been on a break? How did it go? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Thanks. TLDR, me and my boyfriend are considering going on a break. Is it a good idea? Fuck that piece of shit show Friends for popularizing the idea of a break. Take a look at Ross and Rachel's relationship. That shit's more toxic than Novichok. Breaks don't exist, they are how cowards break up. You're arguing constantly, what about? Is there an incompatibility? How will a break fix that? If you're arguing due to incompatibility, you should break up. A break won't resolve fundamental incompatibility. If you're arguing due to some communication problems, a break won't resolve that, either. Relationship problems are resolved with communication and working together, not by taking a break. Otherwise you just get back together, but the problem is still there, and then what? It builds back up and you keep taking breaks every time you get sick of the arguing. You work on your problems if you think they're fixable, or you break up. The reason for a relationship is that two people are sure they want to be together. If one of them is not sure that is what they want, then it is time to break up. Most of the breaks I have witnessed have just ended up prolonging the confusion. There has always been a clear and definite breakup that follows. Though I have seen reconciliations after breakups. Breaks are soft breakups. Better to get it over with. If you got back together, your problems would pick up where they left off. This doesn't look good. Breaks are never good. My ex-BF asked for one and then broke up with me after the break. If I could go back in time, I wish I would have told him either we work through our issues together or break up now, because those weeks that we were on a break were brutal. You want someone who communicates with you. Going on a break breaks down communication and most likely you guys aren't gonna get back together. My 23F mom, 60F. Thinks I'm lying about how much work I have. My issue is basically the title. I am currently attending graduate school in the US remotely. For this, I moved back home with my mother who works full-time in the healthcare sector. I spend at the very least 40 hours a week on homework, projects, studying for tests, and attending Zoom classes. I also do all of the household chores, cooking, cleaning, taking out trash/recycling/compost. Despite this, my mom has repeatedly made comments about how I'm just home all day and have so much free time, and she keeps pushing more things onto me. Now I take care of her pet. Every time I tell her I also have things to do, I think she doesn't believe me. The other day, I asked her if she thinks I'm lying about how much time I spend on schoolwork and she said I don't know. Why do you need me to believe you? How can I get her to understand that I am also busy and working hard so she'll respect my time? It's driving me insane. Too long didn't read. My mom keeps loading more and more household chores onto me because she thinks I'm lying when I say I have 40+ hours of graduate school work to do. How do I get her to believe me, respect my time, and do some damn chores herself? I suggest moving out. Don't answer your phone when you are working. Perhaps your flexibility and willingness to help has given her the wrong impression. Perhaps for your own sanity, keep track of the time you spend on household chores. That way you can accurately assess if it's worth it or not. That said, not having a commute would save me 10 hours a week. You need to have a more comprehensive talk with her. When she asked why you need her to believe you, you should have said that you need her to believe you so that she understands that there's a limited amount of extra tasks that you can take care of in a day, instead of her thinking that you're free and doing almost nothing all day. Also, are you paying rent? Because if you aren't, you'll need to accept that a large number of these tasks is how you pay rent instead of paying money. I don't know. Why do you need me to believe you? Because I'm an adult with my own responsibilities. I want to help out as much as I can, but you will have to respect my time and schedule, as I do yours. Here's an overview of my office hours. Between 8 AM and 4 PM every day, I will be working and cannot be disturbed. If you don't pay rent, though, she probably sees you as free in-house labor. Either draw up an agreement, pay rent, agree on which chores you will do, and start looking to move out. Set boundaries. If you don't pay rent, what are her expectations? Draw a line. I F30 have trouble listening to my husband, M29, when he talks about cars and machinery. I'm posting here because I'm feeling really confused about whether I'm being reasonable or not. For context, my husband and I have been together for 11 years, and we absolutely adore each other. We get on really well the majority of the time and have many shared interests, such as gardening, dogs, watching the same TV shows, enjoying similar books, sense of humor. Our sex life is also wonderful and I feel very lucky to have him. We do of course have some separate interests. I love ballroom dancing, crochet, sewing and fashion, none of which he has any interest in. To his credit, he does occasionally dance with me and has allowed me to teach him a few basic moves so that we can dance together a little at events such as weddings. Hobbies and interests which he has which I don't have any interest in include cars, planes, and repairing old machinery such as tractors. He works as an engineer and is also very passionate about the work that he does. For example, designing earthquake-safe ceilings in buildings, and working with heavy machinery rollover protective structures. The issue that occurs is my man loves to talk to me about his hobbies and his job. He gets so enthusiastic and excited. I love that he gets so passionate, and I would love to hear about such things for maybe 10 minutes at a time, a few times a day. But the trouble is that he tends to really go on, and gets into a huge amount of technical detail which I just can't follow. Over the years I've started to get tense and stressed when he leaves and start talking about these topics, because I'm already wondering how long it's going to go on for. I just can't focus and take in so much information about things I'm not interested in. It has often felt as though I'm back at uni sitting in on a mechanical engineering lecture. To his credit, when I ask him to stop or round it up, he usually does so, although he does often seem crestfallen or even a bit grumpy. He will often say, "I know you don't care about this stuff, I need to remember not to even try to talk to you about it," which seems to me a bit extreme, because I do enjoy listening to it in limited doses, and I love to see him so happy and passionate, which I've told him BTW. I've tried sort of half zoning out and letting him talk and listening in a bit more of a relaxed way, which I quite enjoy, but that annoys him because he says I'm not listening properly. I do try to say things like cool and oh yeah, and take in as much as I can in a more casual way, but I expect my responses are a bit delayed and he can just tell I'm not fully switched on. He doesn't want to talk to me about these things if I'm not listening and responding properly, but I just can't listen and respond properly for anywhere near the amount of time he wants me to. I think he wants me to ask him questions about it and get more involved with the conversation as well, but I wouldn't even know where to start or what questions to ask. And honestly I don't want to prolong the conversation by asking questions. I have gone to air shows with him in the past, and I do my best to allow him time for him to do his work on the car and tractors etc, though obviously work and other life things can get in the way. I try to be supportive and I really respect these hobbies. I think they're amazingly useful and involve a lot of intelligence. I just can't engage with him in conversation about it in the way he seems to want me to. From the other angle, I do sometimes talk to him about things like dancing, fashion, or crochet/sewing. It's hard to assess clearly from my perspective, but I really don't think I go on too much when I talk about these topics, and I'd be surprised if I brought them up more than a few times per week because I know he's just not really interested. So I kind of keep it to any tidbits which I think he might be able to relate to more. For example, I've told him once about what I'd recently learned about sewing different types of circle skirts, which is quite a mathematical type of sewing problem, and I think I probably talked for under 5 minutes about it. Can also see when he starts to lose interest, and I wrap it up and don't feel offended about it, because I know it's not an interest he shares, and there are so many other things we do share that it doesn't matter to me at all that he doesn't care about sewing or dancing, etc. It came to a bit of a head today while we were out driving. I was looking at my phone for a few minutes, trying to work out a schedule/calendar for the next few weeks. We'd been talking most of the trip about all kinds of things, so it's not like I'd been ignoring him for ages or something. Suddenly he saw a Hercules plane outside, and commented on it really excitedly. I can't turn my head very swiftly at the best of times, old neck injury, and it took me a moment to disengage from my phone, but I still looked up in time to see the plane. I think I said something like, "Oh cool, big Hercules," and then went straight back to my phone. Within the next 40 seconds or so, he apparently pointed out 3 different types of hangers which we were driving past, but I only managed to focus back in on the third one, and kind of missed that he'd mentioned 3 and thought all the talk about hangers was just about the third one. I zoned back in when he was saying that the third enormous hanger was all one room inside, so I looked at it and responded with something vague like, "Wow, yeah, that must be huge," and went back to my phone again. He then got grumpy and seemed offended that I hadn't focused properly on what he'd been saying. He got a little mad, saying something along the lines of, "You didn't see anything I was talking about, you were only looking at your phone, and if you aren't going to listen, I'd rather you just tell me you're busy." I've been trying to figure out whether I should have dropped my phone the second he started telling me about the Hercules, but I didn't realize he was going to keep talking and tell me about the 3 hangers as well at that point. I don't fully understand why he gets so upset/grumpy about this issue, but I'm really trying to see it from his point of view. I get that these things are really important to him. I told him I didn't mean to be disrespectful, and he said that wasn't the problem. But when I asked what the problem was, he just repeated that it made him mad that I was looking at my phone while he was telling me things. I just don't understand what is going on emotionally for him about this. Why is it so vital to him that I be interested in mechanical things? It seems like a small casual show of interest from me isn't enough for him. If someone could please try to explain it to me, that would be so helpful. Honestly, I don't know what to do about this issue, because listening to this stuff really exhausts me and stresses me out. But it seems to be so important to him that I do so. Please give me some advice about what would be a normal amount to be listening to this kind of stuff, and whether you think it would be better to ask him to stop talking as soon as I can't listen fully anymore, or whether you think the half-focused listening for a bit longer would be preferable. I love him very much and I want him to be happy and to support him in his passions. I just don't know what to do about my limited listening capacity, and I feel like I'm failing him as a partner when he gets upset. It feels like I'm raining on his parade when he starts off excited and ends up grumpy because I zoned out or had to ask him to stop. Please send help. Sorry this was such a long post. If you made it all the way through, thank you so much. TL, Doctor, I don't know what is a reasonable amount to be able to listen to my husband talk about his mechanical hobbies and interests. It exhausts and stresses me out because of the amount of time he tends to talk about it, but it makes him grumpy and deflated when I'm not listening properly or when I have to ask him to stop. Please give me advice. Okay, you need conversation boundaries. Talking to people is fun. Being lectured is not fun. Re the car issue. Honey, I was looking at my phone because I was trying to work out a calendar issue. That should be the only explanation he needs. Super cool plane, yep, that is awesome and so glad you got to see it. Sorry hangers aren't as exciting as a BPDC after 3 HTC, but hey, let's go see the hangar. Maybe they do tours, and then we can head to a yarn store I want to visit. Or well, not right now because COVID. You get to have your own priorities. You are a fully fledged human with your own brain. You are not an NPC in a video game who hangs on his every word. My husband, bless him, does this but also listens to me nerd out about my things. Some of our nerd things overlap, so that is awesome, but he puts effort into my nerd things, so I do for him too.